Hello, welcome to Geeks Unleashed for this week. Hello, my name is Maude Garrett. I'm Chief Bomb of Geek Bomb, and every single week we love to get a guest on board to get down and nerdy with them. I'm very, very happy for this guest. I met him not only on Jedi Alliance, but also had a tonic. Or did you have a lemonade? Was it a...
I believe it was water that I had, actually. I'm not a drinker.
A sip of tequila!
Yeah, that's actually exactly what it was. It was one sip.
Whew. You want to calm down now. I am talking about a very, very successful YouTuber. He does movie reviews, and he's also a massive Star Wars lover and gamer. His name is Chris Stuckmann. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode.
Absolutely. I was excited when I heard about it. You were like, hey, so you were on Jedi Alliance. I also do this other nerdy thing, and I was like, oh, nerdy things? I like nerdy things.
You actually had a whole week where you were poured out, basically. You did Guilty Movie Pleasures. You did Between the Sheets with Josh McCougar. This is all for the Schmoville Network. Schmoes know. Schmoes knows. I will never put a second S on that for some reason. I don't know. My mouth doesn't.
A lot of people do that. Tons of people do that.
Oh, good. I'm not alone. What else were you on? You were on the main show, the podcast show on the Thursday night.
Yeah, I did all the
profiles.
All the Schmo shows, the profiles, Guilty Movie Pleasures, Jedi Alliance, the Meet the Movie Press, and I did other shows that weren't even involved with the Schmoes too. I was schmoed out. You
were the Schmoes ho. Oh, the Schmoes ho, as I called you so.
That's what I was.
So I thought, look, if you're going to do all those, you have to come on Geeks Unleashed because you've done a lot of movie chat, and I know that movies are your jam. That's your thing. You love your movies. But I want to get the whole geeky spectrum from you. So I'm going to kick things off with a geek out. I'm going to ask you 10 questions, and you're going to answer them as quickly as possible, and they're all within the geek realm. Are you ready?
Yes.
Question number 1. What was the very first video game character you had a crush on?
Wow. See, there's different. Oh boy. See, like there's a couple different ones. Like when I played Metal Gear Solid for the first time, I had like a deep connection with the character of Meryl, who is the love interest from Metal Gear Solid. If you haven't played it, and I had like it was a weird deep connection. Like it wasn't just like, ooh, she's attractive. It was like, I need to protect her. I need to be, because like it was one of the first games I ever played where you got so involved in the lives of the people, and you watched this really hardened guy, Solid Snake, kind of fall for this girl who was also a complete badass and everything. And yeah, she was probably the first video game character that, like, a woman that I was like, I really feel protective of her.
Aw, I actually really love how you said that it's a protective thing, and it's not actually I want to bone the shit out of that thing. So that's
true. That's the way it was. I was like, every time she would become in danger, like Snake would be like, Meryl, no, and then you'd be like, no, and you have to like go in and try to rescue her. Yeah, but she wasn't just a damsel in distress though. She was like really strong too. Like she was a really good, strong character. She could kick. That's why Snake fell for her, because she was powerful. She wasn't just some weakling.
I had that exact thing with Lara Croft from the latest Tomb Raider. Every time she died, I was like so angry at myself because I'm like, she is hurt, she is injured, she's right.
Yeah, and the voice actress was so good. Like when she died, it was like, like this horrible sound. And yeah, I love the new Tomb Raider game. But yeah, Lara Croft Tomb Raider was also big. She was the one that I wanted to be with in that way. Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
Lovely and delicately put. Number 2, what is the book that you read in the fastest sitting?
Book that I read in the fastest sitting? Well, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Goosebumps books.
Goosebumps!
And, like, I actually, let's see.
Have you still got R.L. Stein's books? Night of the Living Dummy. Oh my goodness, this is taking me back.
Yeah, I have
Which one's
a
your
whole
favorite?
Probably this one.
Choose Your Own Adventure?
Sorry?
Oh. Because we were talking about the Choose Your Own Adventure books, and we were talking about, remember how I was obsessed with number 19? It was the Killer Shark one?
Yeah. They had a whole. I had some of the Choose Your Own Adventure ones too. You turn the wrong page, and all of a sudden you die, and you're like, oh, I have to go back. But yeah, I would say when I was a kid, I would sit down and read Goosebumps books in one sitting because I was obsessed with them. Like it was one of the first times that I got really into the idea of storytelling. As a kid, I was talking to Ken Knapsack, your buddy from...
I heard the podcast.
Okay, yeah. And when I was a kid, it was like I was really obsessed with these little short horror stories, and I would write my own, and it was always something along the lines of Goosebumps, there's a monster in the woods or something in the sink, just something like that. And I think those books when I was younger really just I would read one, throw it down, read another one, throw it down. And I think that's why as I got older I got really into Stephen King, because he was like the more adult version of Goosebumps, and so yeah.
I can't stand horror. And a little fun fact for all the non-Americans: say horror, Chris.
Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Horror.
Yeah. Every time someone's talking about horror, I'm like, are you calling me a
horror? Yeah, I gotcha. It's I understand. Yeah, it sounds like horror and then horror.
Because someone was like, do you like horror movies? I'm like, are you asking me if I watch horror? But then we realized that you already did ask. Anyway, moving on to number 3. What is an unheard of anime that you adore?
Wow. Well, let's see. I have a whole bunch behind me. Okay, there's a pretty new one that I can grab for you.
Sure thing. So for those at home, I'm not entirely across all of the anime. I was Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z. I think we bonded over that, didn't we?
Yeah,
I love her.
This is a newer one called Kids on the Slope, and it's directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, who made Cowboy Bebop, which is one of my favorites. And it's only about 13 episodes, 12 episodes, and it's about jazz musician high schoolers in the 60s that are like inspired by famous jazz artists, and I loved it. Wow. And I think more people should watch it.
Fantastic. There's a mini anime review already in your Geek Out Top 10 questions. Number 4, what was the game that made you a gamer?
Wow. Okay, well, see, there's 2. The first game that I ever played that I was like, holy crap, games can be art, was Metal Gear Solid, because up until then it was kind of just like, games are amazing. That was the first game I ever played, and I was like, this is a cinematic experience. Like, I felt like I was watching a movie and playing a game at the same time, which is why I cared so much about Meryl, I guess. But in regards to the game that made me a gamer, I actually have it over here. And I can tilt this down a little bit, and I can show your viewers. These are some of my N64 games that I have.
There it is.
Now these are complete in box. They have like the original manual and everything, and the box and all that stuff. But yeah, there is a game called Force Gemini that came out for N64, and yeah, not terribly well known. You may never have played it, but it was by Rareware, who did like GoldenEye and Banjo-Kazooie and
Perfect Dark.
Yeah, this is one of their most underrated games in my opinion. It's a bug-killing game, but it's like a world-traversing game. You go all across space, and it's one of my favorite games. And I think I played this game more times as a kid than I care to remember. In fact, I'll admit this to you, that this year I actually beat the game again.
You played it again?
Yes.
I kind of find that when I go back to N64, the graphics have progressed so much since then that I find it almost really, really hard to enjoy the game.
I feel you. I understand what you're saying, and yeah, I mean, like I love me some PS4, I love me some Wii U. You know, I still play GameCube games, but in regards to what you were saying about a game that made me just want to continue playing games, like I would play that one. Obviously, I played the classics, you know, the Super Mario Brothers on NES and Super Mario World and all that stuff, and I love those games too. And I already was a gamer when those came out, but that was like the first game I think I remember playing and just being so sucked into it that I couldn't. And I would like research the world. I'd like get magazines and stuff. I like in all of my reviews. I have a poster for it right there.
Is it on the wall there, the poster?
Yeah, it's right there. Every single one of my reviews has that poster.
Pointing at something, and your microphone's gone out.
Ah.
So while you fix your mic and the troubles that's causing, I'm going to read you the next question and have a think about it, because it's a big loaded question. Your favorite fictional world, and this can be a fictional world in any movie, any video game, or any book. And also letting everyone know who's watching this one, we have a Q&A out, so if you look down the bottom, you can see the comment box, or you can see the Q&A on the Hangout page. Now, with that one, you can write whatever you want. Pop it in the chat there, press enter, and I'll read them out as we go along. So join in on the conversation. Pull it out, push it back in, damn it.
Can you hear me at all? Okay, okay, I don't know what's wrong. I'm not sure what's wrong with the mic.
What are you saying? Can anyone else type in the box if you can hear Chris? Maybe it's me. Oh my gosh, it's me.
I don't know.
You can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Cool. So Chris is going to quickly go away and learn to sign. Chris, do you want to drop out of the call and come back in? All right, you do that. For everyone else playing at home, here are the top 5 questions before Chris hears them. Alrighty. Technical difficulties. Love it. For a fun fact though, this has never happened before. So there's that. Number 6 will be the most hated boss or character that you've ever played in a video game. If you are watching this, comment, I want to hear yours because I'll read them out. Question number 7, what was the last TV marathon you've ever had? Quick, question 8, what consoles you currently play on? Question 9, how many Pokemon can you realistically name? And question 10, can one simply walk into Maude? Chris, you're back.
Hello?
Talk to me.
Hello.
No, what's happened is when you moved the TV.
Okay.
You moved the monitor, something pulled out.
Yeah.
You're taking a photo now.
No, like, see, that's what...
This is live streaming, everyone. This is what happens. You had your other microphone, that one that's long gone. Have you looked at settings up the top? Let's see if there's anything external. You're just having a laugh.
Hello.
It all seems well. See the little cog up the top?
Hello.
Anything there? I love that people are still tuning in right now to this. Quick, I better have some jokes or something. That's my boyfriend.
Hello, 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 hello.
Actually, that's my boyfriend.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening.
We've got Andy A commenting saying Stuckmann in the house. We've got crazy viewers saying yo, Stuckmann is the man. I know, Stuckmann is cool. Let's get it right.
Let me try something.
And he's off. All right, did everyone get the rest of the 10 questions that are about to be asked? How many Pokemon can you realistically name? I'm really interested to know what everyone says about that one because there's, what, 798 Pokemon now? I remember when there was 151. Yeah, that's right. What consoles everyone's playing on at the moment? What does everyone think the most popular one is? I'm playing on Xbox One. Is it going well? Graphics are not as good as PS4. Stuckmann, how are we going to do? Oh, you can hear Chris perfectly. It's me. Oh, fuck. I can't even drop out, though. It hangs up. Hello?
Hey.
All right, I'm here. Fuck. That was...
Can you hear me?
Balls of entertainment. Thank you to Matthew Jacobs, to Noah. Hey, Noah. To Gregory. To Closet Movie Reviewers. To Liam. To Christina and to Shane and everyone. They can all hear me fine. Something's going on with mine. I'm going to blame Apple because that seems like the right thing to do.
Can
all
you
right.
hear me?
Ready to get on to the last 5?
You can hear me now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome.
That was fun. Trust me, that was fun for everyone.
I was like, what did I do? I didn't do anything, and I clicked the photo thing. I was like, do I have to? I don't know.
You still got the photo thing. You're randomly going to take a photo at any time. All right, let's power through these last 5. Favorite fictional world that you would love to live in?
Oh, Star Wars.
Nice.
Galaxy.
Most hated boss or character in a game?
Most hated boss. That is easy. Okay. Last year I played a game called Metal Gear Rising, and
oh my God, you're a series.
yeah. The final boss was wrong, and I swear to you, I almost gave up. Like it took me about 50 continues. It's like the hardest boss I've ever faced in my life. He's like this overpowered behemoth guy, and you're basically like fighting and clawing at the ground to get to a checkpoint so that you can restart. But the thing about the checkpoint is when you die and you restart, it's not like your health fills back up. You restart with whatever your health was. So if you have like 1 health, that's how you have to just deal with it. It's the hardest boss I've ever fought in my life.
Right. I love that Carlo has said most hated boss is Shao Kahn from Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, of course. Shane Ashby says Shao Kahn as well. I've actually done a show called Geeks Tick Tick Boom, where we did top 3 most impossible bosses, and Shao Kahn was in my top 3. We're all on the same page.
Shao Kahn was a butthole.
Just like relentless. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 7. What was the last TV marathon you had?
Last TV marathon that I had. It's Dragon Ball Z. What can I say? On my honeymoon night, my wife and I actually watched like 4 episodes of Dragon Ball Z together.
That's really sweet. Just 4?
Yeah, because in all honesty, it was like 3 in the morning, and we were going like this, and we were like, oh my god, we're tired, and then we went to bed.
How can you fall asleep watching Dragon Ball Z? Someone's screaming at you the whole time.
It's amazing. It was like we were just like, it was like, okay, what do you want to do? And I had Dragon Ball Z with me because I was like, that's just how we are as a husband or wife. And we were like, okay, Dragon Ball Z it is. And we watched like 4 or 5 episodes of it. And by the 5th episode, we were like, we need to go to bed. Because you have to understand, we were up for like, it's definitely like that. And it also, our hotel room sounded like that too, before Dragon Ball Z. But it was one of those situations where we had been up for like 40 hours, and we were like, okay, we need to go to bed.
Nice. Question number 8. What consoles do you currently... sorry, I got my vowels mixed up. What consoles do you currently play on? Shane Ashby says his Xbox 360 and his Alienware M17X. I'm not sure if there's an X on it or if he's just saying kiss to me. What consoles do you play on?
In all honesty, I mean, like, almost all the ones I own, I would say I rotate quite often, because I'm a retro gamer and a current gamer. I like to play games from all different generations, so PS4, Nintendo Wii, GameCube, N64, NES, Super NES, Dreamcast, basically all the things I have, I rotate playing from time to time.
No Xbox in there.
No Xbox, sorry. Not that I have anything against it, it's just that I've always preferred Sony over it.
That's like you Metal Gear Solid love, though. That's spawned from the Sony and the loyalty. I think that whatever you game on when you start off as a kid is what you find yourself loyalty.
Definitely. I mean, if Nintendo Power magazine was still around, I'd still have my subscription to it.
Ching! I remember that episode. Number 9. How many Pokemon could you realistically name?
Oh my God, maybe like 15. Let's see, Charizard, Squirtle, Ivysaur, Bulbasaur, Pikachu, Onix. See, I'm getting to a point now where it's like, Mew, Mewtwo. I don't want to take up your whole show doing this.
Raichu, Ponyta, Rapidash.
Let me try to get to 10. Abacadabra? Was there one called Abacadabra? Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me try to get to 10.
One was called Abra, and the other one was called Kadabra.
Right, Abracadabra, Pichu. There's 11.
Done. Okay.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Out of 798 or however many there are now. And the last one, can one simply walk into Mordor?
Of course not. Because let me tell you about something. I had a chance to interview Sean Bean.
How was that?
It was amazing. He was really cool. But
did you die or did he? Kidding.
No, it was great. Yeah, no, he died after the interview. But the water I gave him was poisoned. But no, he was great. He was really nice. He was really sweet. He was a nice gentleman. But like, I wanted to walk up to him and just be like, "Can you please just can you do this, and I can take a photo right next to you with with your hand like this." And I'll put a meme text on it.
Did he do it?
No, he didn't. I didn't ask him. I wanted to. You understand?
Oh, yeah. But you have to ask like a difficult question and he'd be like, and then freeze.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to everything. Recently, you were on Jedi Alliance, which is the podcast show that I host with Kem Knapsack on the Schmoes Nose network. Big Star Wars fan. I absolutely love this. Thank you. I'm glad you had fun. But anyone, we're not going to double over the ground there. If you haven't seen the episode, it is up on YouTube. Just look up Jedi Alliance. But something that I found fascinating is that afterwards you tweeted your top 6 of those movies in the particular order. So with the original trilogy and the prequels. Let's go through those, because number 1 was Empire. Number 2, you refused to call A New Hope because it will always be Star Wars to you.
Exactly.
Number 3, Return of the Jedi. Number 4, Revenge of the Sith. Number 5, Phantom Menace. And the last on your list is Attack of the...
You got it.
I want to get from everyone listening and watching this right now, do you agree with this? Because I'm a little bit upset that Return of the Jedi is your least favorite of the original trilogy.
Do you like it more than Empire and Star Wars?
Yes, I do.
And I like it too. I love that movie. See, here's the deal. Like, for a long time, people would be like, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? And I'm like, stop asking me that. That's not fair. Like, leave me alone. Because they're great. They're all great. The original 3 I love. And I love Return of the Jedi. I don't dislike it. I just prefer the other 2 over it. That's all. The thing is, like, as I watch Star Wars, there is not a single second of lag time, in my opinion. As I watch Empire Strikes Back, again, not a single second of lag time. There's like a 10-minute period in Return of the Jedi where they meet the Ewoks and Luke is talking to Darth Vader, where it's like, come on. And then it gets going again.
So what the hell was Attack of the Clones for you then? That was just like one big
Attack of the Clones. See, the reason a few people were like, yeah, I do like Phantom Menace more than Attack of the Clones, and then other people were like, oh, come on, how can you like Phantom Menace more than Attack of the Clones? I'm like, look, Phantom Menace at least has a really awesome lightsaber battle with Darth Maul. And in my opinion, the lightsaber battle in Attack of the Clones was really lackluster. I mean, I didn't really think it was all that great, in all honesty.
When was it?
Right, at the end you see like a CGI Yoda doing like barrel rolls like he's Star Fox or something, and in the background I'd be like, do a barrel roll, and then Yoda.
Do a barrel roll!
Yeah, it didn't work for me. Didn't work for me, and people were like, oh yeah, well, you know, Boba Fett was in it. I was like, you mean the little boy who was audio dubbed the entire time?
Hold on, so what was the better lightsaber battle then between Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Obi, or Obi and Anakin when he burns on...
I mean, look, Revenge of the Sith is the best prequel. It is. It's just that the end lightsaber battle gets so cheesy when they're like floating across the lava and then...
You were the chosen one!
Especially that one move where they just go like with their lightsabers and don't touch for like 5 seconds. I was like, what are you even doing? Dancing? So yes.
Oh, and it's like, don't do it, don't do it. That's before he's going to do the jump over. And he's like, don't do it, because he's going to slice him up, and he did.
It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. Well, I guess that means the battle's over.
All right, there's our Star Wars chat. I also want to just bring this back into the whole geek spectrum. We play something at Geek Bomb here called Power. And our regulars know exactly what that is. And if you haven't done it for a while, guys, you know what to do. Comment with your power. Power stands for playing, watching, and reading. PWR. Currently, right now, what are you playing, watching, and reading?
Currently, right now, what am I playing? Right now, I am waiting for Metal Gear Solid 5. I know. I talk about Metal Gear a lot, but playing right now, yeah, it was a Star Wars game that I played recently, and it's an older game. Like I said, I like to play retro games, and I like to play newer games, but I was playing Rogue Leader for GameCube, and if you ever played that, it's amazing. It's probably the best Rogue Squadron game. It's Star Wars Rogue Leader. It was the first GameCube game I ever got, and I still remember how I got it, actually, because, I mean, this came out in, like, 2001, for goodness sakes, so that was, like, what, 13 years ago?
Wow.
It was a gift from my dad. And he surprised me one morning. He was like, hey, Chris, go look over there. And I looked at where he was pointing, and there was a GameCube with Star Wars Rogue Leader, and I was like, oh, I love you. But I do like to play older games from time to time, and I just felt like playing it, so I was. What am I watching right now? A ton of movies, that's for sure.
How many movies would you watch a week?
At least one a day.
Far out.
Yeah.
What did you watch today?
Today, I haven't watched anything yet, but tonight I'm going to watch Creepshow because my wife and I are, we're going to do a Halloween, we're doing a Halloween video together where we talk about some of our favorite horror movies that aren't really that great, that are just kind of like guilty pleasures where we're like, okay, this is kind of cheesy, but we enjoy it.
No, I don't know. I don't watch horror. I don't watch any. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that's fine. What am I reading right now? Well, I'm not reading any books right now. I take that back. My friend for my wedding, he gave me. It's actually right there. It's The American Cinema. It's a book on film directors from like the 1920s to the 1960s, and I'm reading up on that.
You're going classics.
Yeah, I mean, I like to do as much research on film as I can. A lot of people ask me if I've gone to film school, and no, I haven't officially gone to film school. To me, my film school is just filling my brain with knowledge.
Knowledge is power, and with great power comes great responsibility.
Remember that, Pete. Remember that.
How easy is it to drop in quotes from all the movies in everyday conversation?
All the time, all the time. I'll be sitting down with my friends, and we'll just find some way to do it. Like, okay, like I think I told you guys about this on Jedi Alliance. I can't remember if I did or not, but my dad used to actually like give me advice based off things that Yoda said. I mean, that's just, he would say stuff like, do or do not, there is no try, and I would be inspired to do something difficult or whatever. And yeah, I'm always dropping in movie quotes all the time in everyday conversation.
All right, for the next 10 minutes, we're going to chat about your YouTube success, because there's like a lot of important questions that I want to go through. I'm not going to talk about what you got into with Ken Napzok, so if anyone wants to talk about your love and where it all started and your storytelling and all of that sort of things, jump onto the Napzok files on iTunes. What I want to talk about are actual questions that I think a lot of people trying to do what you're doing have. For example, how do you find a unique voice?
Yeah, that's by far one of the hardest things. I did a video called On Film Criticism, and our mutual friend Alicia Malone, gave her thoughts on that video too about film reviews and how to kind of figure out your own way of doing it. And to me, I think that's the most important part, because there are so many different people out there trying to do this, and a lot of different people are I get that question a lot, and I think what it is that you have to have something about you that is unique only to you, and if you don't feel like you have something that's unique only to you, because I didn't for a long time. I didn't think that I had anything that was unique to me until I started to figure out myself as a movie watcher, and I figured out that what's unique about me is that I actually want to make movies, and I actually have tried to make movies, and so when I watch movies, I have a different viewpoint than your average audience member would, because I understand how difficult it is. And so there are times when I watch a movie that I may not necessarily be more lenient, but I just have more of a mutual appreciation for how hard it is to make a film. And that's just with me and a few people. Like, I've never been on a legit film crew studio set with thousands of people at my disposal, or hundreds, So I have a kind of a respect for filmmakers. Even when they make a bad movie, I sort of have this respect, like, okay, they at least really, really tried. I think to find your unique voice is to find out what makes your love of film different from other people's.
Okay. I did hear, though, that when you started, it was your you bagged a movie out. You bagged out Last Airbender, and it was sort of that propelled you. And Dragon Ball Z, you bagged that out as well. So is there a sense of needing to find credibility, and people will kind of turn to that?
Yeah, definitely. And that's that's one of the biggest parts too. People can trust you, because sometimes there are critics out there who become known as very contrary to what most people think, and they will find their own group of followers who also feel contrary to what most people think. And if that's what makes you unique, then that's what makes you unique. But sometimes it's really important to be able to have viewers or readers who trust you. And for me, that kind of did start with The Last Airbender, because I talked with Knapsack about it, and I told him about how I was one of the first people to review it, and I'm not like patting myself on the back, I'm just stating a fact. I was one of the first people to say it was terrible, and a lot of people were very upset because they were very anticipated, like, oh boy, it's going to be the best movie ever, and it wasn't. And that suddenly built this credibility with some viewers, and I got some more subscribers. And I think that credibility is definitely something that helps. And a lot of people view like a degree in journalism or something as a way to suddenly have credibility. That is something that helps absolutely. But just because you have a paper on your wall doesn't mean you're going to create something great. You have to work at it really hard. And I think with hard work comes credibility.
Right. I'm in that same boat where I watched every single episode of Avatar on Nickelodeon. I hosted Nickelodeon in Australia. That was the only show I really loved. And the same with Dragon Ball Z. So I'm with you where it's like, I want this to be amazing. What are you doing? Why is it so terrible? I watched Last Airbender on a plane, and I couldn't finish it. I didn't even pay to watch it. And I couldn't. And I was like, get me off this vessel. What is important? So if someone's going to start, okay, yes, dedication, hard work, consistency, that's something that we hear over and over again. But what should someone have in their toolkit? Like, what kind of camera? What is important? Thumbnails, like graphics. What are really the things that you need?
That's one of the hardest things, too, because with that, see, a lot of people think that, well, I have a camera and me, so now I can do it. There's a lot of technical things that you need to learn that I had to teach myself to start YouTube. For one, Photoshop. Like, I learned how to do Photoshop and things like that so that I could make good thumbnails for YouTube, because if you just have like an image of you going like, I mean, it's not going to be a good thumbnail. No one's going to want to click on that. So you have to, that's one of the things, that's the YouTube politics side of it all, where you have to figure out how YouTube works. Thumbnails are very important, and not just some face, you going rah with like a cool text. Like, you have to figure out how to make a aesthetically pleasing image just for that one little thing. That really actually matters quite a bit. And of course, editing is probably top 5 most important things, if not the most important thing you do with a video, is how clean and polished it looks. It's not just about your personality and how you are as a person in front of a camera. And I know you know this, but I'm talking to your viewers. It's extremely important when you're editing to make a polished and nice-looking video that flows well. And for me, I've been editing since I was 13 when I discovered iMovie on my Mac, and I started making little end credit sequences. So now that I'm 20, how old am I? Am I 26?
26.
Yes.
Yeah.
26. Now that I'm 26, I have this, I've been editing so long to where I have what I call editor's eyes and editor's ears. If I see a mistake in a movie or in a video, it's so glaringly obvious to me. Like, you could put a split-second, one-frame image of something and I'd see it completely clearly, because I'm so used to editing that those types of mistakes stand out to me. And it's the same with audio. So if I hear a glaring audio error in one of my videos, I immediately, my OCD goes wild and I have to fix it. Lighting, huge. Lighting is huge for your videos. I have a 3-point lighting system set up over here where I film. They're obviously not on right now. And that way, what the 3-point lighting system does is it eliminates shadows. So you won't have like a shadow from your chin like here or here. You're going to look, exactly. There you go. You're going to look nice and lit. And of course, my background that I use in my videos, I try to make it as pleasing to look at as possible. And you can see now that I don't have it all the way up to the ceiling, because the video cuts right about here. So, but it's one of those things where it's not just about your personality. You really have to make something that looks good. And it's the same. I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but it's the same with a director who's trying to make a movie. You could have a brilliant mind and write a brilliant screenplay, and then you get a cinematographer who makes your movie look like garbage. It's not going to matter. So if you have like the brain and the willpower, and you really want to go forth with talking about movies on the internet and seeing if you can be successful, there's a lot of technical stuff you need to teach yourself first.
You were saying, I can't remember where it was, maybe in one of your videos, that you love David Fincher because he's such a perfectionist.
Right, you got it. Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about seeing his movies is because I know going into a movie that I'm not going to have a problem with the way it looks because he is even more of an OCD about that kind of stuff than I am. I mean, I told you, I didn't tell you, but in my video I mentioned for the Gone Girl review that he had Jake Gyllenhaal throw a notebook on a seat like 40 times in Zodiac. And it's in the making of documentary, and you can see Jake Gyllenhaal going, "Ugh," and then throwing it again, and then he goes, and he's like, "Cut! Can you do that one more time? I didn't like the way the page flapped." Like, and that's the kind of perfectionism we're talking about in regards to the way he makes a movie, and that's one of the things. I mean, yeah, if I was Jake Gyllenhaal in that moment, I'd be like, okay, but when I sit down in the audience and I watch the movie, I'm like, I'm glad that he's that much of a perfectionist because it just flows so well.
I just don't have that in me. It's like my one flaw is that I'm just like, I have the that'll do policy on everything. That'll do.
Yeah, it's funny. I was hanging some superhero like tin things down our staircase, and we have Batman, then Wonder Woman, and then Superman at the bottom. And my wife and I were looking at Superman, and we were like, "That's crooked." And so we just like spent like the next 10 minutes like hammering it like back into place. We're like, "It has to be straight."
You have absolutely met like the most perfect woman in the entire world for you, and that makes me very happy.
Thank you very much.
Why YouTube? Is it because it is so accessible? But what are the perks? What do you get back from YouTube?
Well, I mean, like, actually recently, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I was given, it's right over here. You can't really see it, but it's a silver play button that I got in the mail for reaching 100,000 subscribers. I got 100,000 like in January or something. I don't know when it was, but I finally got that in the mail. But that's like an actual perk you can get, which is kind of cool. If you get over 1 million subscribers, they send you a gold one. I don't know when that'll be, if ever. But I think in regards to like the perks, I just get an extreme sense of fulfillment being able to share my opinion with others. I actually don't feel complete until I've reviewed a movie I've seen. Like last night, we'll talk about this later. I know some of the questions you mentioned you were going to talk about best and worst movies. Last night I saw a film. I won't talk about it right now, but like I didn't feel right until I got home and filmed the review and got it up. And I was talking with a buddy of mine who also runs a YouTube channel, John Flickinger. He was like, when you publish a video and it's out there and you post it up on your social media, whatever, and you can just be like, I'm done. Like you feel a sense of accomplishment from being able to get that out there.
Yeah, I get you. If you see a little flaw in it, though, do you have to pull it down and fix it? Or
no, because I rewatched the video like 3 times before I post it.
There is no spoon. One of your most successful videos was the Prometheus Explanation. Why is it that you think kind of explaining a difficult movie got so much reception? And a big shout out to Craig Sutto, who wanted you to know specifically that he loved that video and he wants to see more of that stuff.
Oh, great. I'm very thankful for that. I think one of the things about it is that it's a topical thing, because when I published that video, I went to the screening, or I went to the Thursday night showing of it, I believe, at like midnight, and I saw it, and then I reviewed it in a regular video, and then I saw it again the next day, and I was like, you know what? A lot of people are confused by this movie, and I feel like I have a grasp of it. So I went home and I was like, let's talk about this movie in depth and see if they like it. And to my surprise, they really loved it, because that was a completely different video for me. I had never done a video like that before ever, and so it was sort of a gamble, kind of. Whenever you change up your style with something, people can be like, oh, I don't like this. This is different. But they loved it, and it really kind of it exploded a lot. And I think it was just one of those things where people legitimately were kind of confused by the movie. It was a topical subject, and it got shared a lot. And through that, I made some more. Like I did my Enemy Explained video, did really well too. My whole goal with that is like I try to focus on movies that I think are pretty good, or at least okay, but that are really confusing, that are hard to understand. First, I have to allow myself to make sure I understand it, because I can tell you when I saw Enemy, I didn't understand that movie fully for like probably a month or two. And I was just doing research on it and like looking at interviews and stuff, and that's one of the things I think people like is just, I think real film buffs love examining a movie like inside and out and figuring out what its hidden meanings are.
You should do a video on explaining Bioshock Infinite because I'm still like, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
You've split up your channel into A+, F movies, so the really, really good and the really, really bad. Analyze movies. Hilarosity?
Hilariosity.
That's a made-up word. That is a goddamn made-up word. You made that up because I looked at it and it had a squiggly line underneath it, so that's not a word. What is hilariosity?
Hilariosity is a movie that is such an atrocity, it's hilarious.
Oh.
So, like, they're my way. I do those reviews. I made up the word. Like, it started when I did a review for Batman and Robin, and I said this movie's a hilariosity, but I never went anywhere else with it. And then people are like, that word's funny, and I was like, I like that word. And so I decided to make a whole segment where they're very hard to make. They're long videos. They're like half-hour long videos. I have to get a lot of footage and clips. I have to take a ton of notes when I do those videos. But the last one I did was for Steel with Shaquille O'Neal, which came out in the '90s, a DC Comics movie. It's pretty amazing. But it's basically like movies that are so bad that you can laugh at them.
Right, I love Batman and Robin as an example because I don't know if it's like because we're a similar age. It's like that movie was one of the first Batmans that I saw, and I was like, this is great. And then you see Batman '89, and then you see the rest, and you're like, oh, I see. This is a parody. Gotcha.
Right.
So I want to move things onto the news, and I've got our special guest here, Alicia Malone, to join in. You can bring a chair.
Oh,
that's all right.
so I'm supposed to bring my own chair. Hello.
Sit down here.
All right, I will.
Alrighty. So I want to chat with you guys. Sorry if there's any kind of. Oh, there's mine.
Oh yeah.
I want to talk to you guys about what's in the news this week, and then also the best and worst of 2014 so far. And then after that, we'll take to the Q&A. So guys, get your questions in, and I'm loving all the powers that I'm seeing so far. So there's news this week that there's a Tetris game being made. This is the only video game.
Yeah.
I mean, a Tetris game being made. It's been a game every year since we were like 2. Yeah, Chris, you were shaking your head at this. Alicia.
Yeah, well, Tetris is the only game that I play, but I cannot imagine how this is a movie. I said the same thing about Lego, but at least Lego has people figurines. I don't know how they're going to do it. What do you think, Chris?
Well, what I want is Hans Zimmer to do a score of the. Yeah, I want that.
That was the first song that I learnt to teach myself when I bought a keyboard. I was like, I'm feeling.
Was it a Casio keyboard?
I think so. And the second song was the Ludo Valley from Zelda.
My sister had one of those. My sister had a Casio keyboard. She taught herself how to play piano on that. But yeah, Tetris. Look, somebody earlier, I tweeted, I was like, Tetris movie? That sounds amazing. Oh, I also played Battleship. How'd that turn out? And people were like, well, Legos, you played with Legos when you were a kid. And I was like, yeah, but Legos have characters. They have like Han Solo and Indiana Jones and all these people. Tetris are blocks. They're shapes that fall. That there's.
Chris, I have to ask, just putting on that voice when you get negative feedback or people kind of having a contradicting opinion, does that help?
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, it's true. I've done that before. I was watching some of my interviews with you guys on the various Schmoes shows, and I was like, stupid. I was like, I do that too much.
One of my questions was going to be, how do you deal with the feedback? I think that's an amazing way. Every time it's like,
Yeah.
Alicia, you shouldn't wear the pink lipstick.
You're a feminazi.
Yeah. How do you deal with it, Alicia?
I just
She cries herself to sleep every night.
curl myself up in a ball of sad. I try not to let it get to me, but it's hard. Now I just don't read comments if I can stay away from it, unless they at me, which is delightful to read on my phone.
I activated my deflection shield.
Yeah, with me it's just one of those things where I've realized that it doesn't actually matter at all, and I think that's one of the things that really helped me because it also helps to actually visualize it. It might make you more mad if you visualize it, but when I actually picture someone who's like 12 like in their room just typing, and then they press enter, and then they like shut down their computer and go like play a video game or whatever. And I actually like picture like what they're actually doing and how much care they actually gave to it. I realize that it shouldn't really bother me at all.
That's a good way to look at it.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, because I can read like 100 great comments about myself, and then I read one bad. I'm like, oh.
I'm the opposite. I'll read 100 bad ones and be like, meh, one great one, and be like, what?
What?
Well, look,
this
put it
week
this way.
also
I've met you both, and you both seem very lovely as people. So don't worry about something that somebody tweeted you.
on Fridays we actually beat up old people, so it resets the balance of life. Alicia only holds their hands. You don't even do anything. You just hold their hands behind their back, and it's all me.
It'll be fine. Don't struggle. Make it worse.
Gone Girl is another movie that came out this week that Chris Stuckmann left you speechless in the cinema, and you were not able to form any kind of constructive sentence. Alicia, you had the same thing.
I had the same thing, although I read the book, so I knew what was coming. Chris, did you read the book?
No, and my whole thing with the books is like I like to read a book after, and it's because I cherish the movie-going experience so much that I kind of like to be, surprised.
As soon as I heard Fincher was doing this one, I grabbed the book and started to read it. And
you had a geekgasm first. It
I know.
shook the house.
Fincher, new Fincher movie, but it didn't ruin anything knowing the book and knowing what was coming for the movie, because it's better than the.
What?
It's got more humor and it's dirtier and sexier, and you get to see all of Ben Affleck and all of.
Yeah, how is that, by the way? How is Ben Affleck's penis?
So, it's funny. It's like he was barely in it though.
There is a pause button.
Not in the cinema.
Not in the cinema, but yeah. But I'll tell you what though, like I can tell you for sure, like if this might be inappropriate, but I know he was doing something like off camera to make it look as good as possible. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very I was going to say short, very quick side shot.
And it was kind of
okay, like imagine this is it. Okay, it's like this. It's like this, clip, and then it's gone.
Oh, hold on. One more time.
It's like, boop, and then gone.
That's enough. I had enough time.
Just into the shower.
You're right.
But the film itself is so good, and Ben Affleck I thought was perfectly cast as the husband. He does the smirk, the smugness that people often don't like about him, but that's what that character needed.
Yeah, I loved it, and one of the reasons Fincher casted him was because Affleck himself in the past has dealt with a lot of public media problems and everything, and so this is a perfect role for him because he really understands this character. And it's funny, like I know Alicia, you've mentioned that Fincher is one of, if not your favorite director, and same with me. He's one of those guys where I was telling Maude, you just walk into a movie and you know it's going to look amazing. Like even if the story is not as good as it could be, it's going to look like as perfect as it can be. And from those opening credits where the credits, the main titles would like flash and then go away and then flash and go away, and he would cut shot to shot to shot to shot, and then you saw like this amazing wide of Affleck just taking out the garbage, and there was so much depth. It was like you could tell he had like a huge lens on that camera. It just looked beautiful. I love that movie.
Yeah, you always get great cinematography with him, attention to detail. Maude is like making it.
That's why I brought Alicia.
He does the procedural thing really well, so it's perfect for Gone Girl. And we have to talk about Rosamund Pike. She's brilliant.
Yeah. Not only was she like devilishly sexy in that movie, but her performance was by far the best she's given. I mean, she was.
She's a Bond girl.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she hasn't had much of a chance to show any depth before this, and I think that's another brilliant thing Fincher does. We said Ben Affleck's perfectly cast. Rosamund Pike perfectly cast because we haven't seen this before, so you don't know what to expect of her. And that's important of the character.
But not Neil Patrick Harris, as discussed in your review.
He's always creepy.
I wasn't a fan of him in the movie. Like there was this one scene where like he was all close to Rosamund Pike, and he was making like sexual comments, and I just kept waiting for the How I Met Your Mother laugh track to kick in.
Yeah.
It didn't work for me. He didn't really work for me.
Wait for it, Gary.
He was my only problem with the movie, literally my one problem with the movie. And it wasn't that he was bad. I just felt that he was miscast.
He was creepy though, so he did that well. And Tyler Perry, I wasn't sure what to expect of him, but I thought he was great as the lawyer. Tanner Bolt.
Me too. He was fantastic, and that was probably the biggest surprise in the movie.
Tanner Bolt.
That brings me to the question, though, really quickly before we get to the questions, because there's quite a few coming in. Most anticipated, the best and the worst so far of 2014. I guess it's safe to assume that Gone Girl is right up there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you guys a handful. I'm not going to say what my favorite is because I saved that for the end, but I'll give you guys a handful. I'll save that for the end of the year. But definitely Gone Girl. Yeah, a handful like this. Like, you know, just really enough quickly, to kind of, yeah. I'll get you there. I'll get you halfway.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Gone Girl, Guardians of the Galaxy was fantastic. Edge of Tomorrow was great. Enemy, I loved. Under the Skin, I loved.
No!
Yes. Yes.
Like Under the Skin mod?
She made me watch it! She said it was a sci-fi movie, and that it had Scarlett Johansson.
It is a sci-fi movie. It is a sci-fi movie.
Then why did I sit in my car and cry afterwards?
Good.
Good, at least made you feel something.
You made me feel.
Yeah.
Like I'm dying.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes was amazing. The Guest was really good.
Yes.
Those are a few.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a little handful. Little handful.
And Birdman's really good. Wait for it.
I gotta wait for that to come to Cleveland because I don't live in LA like you special people.
You know.
And the worst movies that you've seen?
Yeah. So last night I went and saw a movie called Left Behind with Nicolas Cage, and
did you sit in your car and cry afterwards as well?
I sat in the theater and cried actually. No, like I was the only one there, literally. And I was just sitting there in the theater. It's like that was kind of cool because I was able to actually be like, "Oh my God, this movie's horrible!" Like I just like shouted things because there was no one else there. So and like halfway through, I was so
like a live response.
Yeah, like halfway through, I was so bored. I just started reading the trivia for the movie on IMDb, and I was like, "How'd this thing happen?" And yeah, that's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I'm serious, and I mean that in all honesty. I don't usually say that. It felt like lesser than a made-for-TV adaptation. Like the score was so horribly cheesy. It was like if I were to take your old Casio keyboard and just start clinking buttons on it.
Casio.
What about you, Alicia? Do you have some?
Oh, worst. Well, best movies, I definitely agree with most of what you said. I love Locke as well. I thought that was really clever, and it was just in one confined space of a car, so that was interesting. Worst, Transformers. Just because it didn't even make sense, you know? Oh, Maude took a photo of us. It didn't even make sense. It just was such lazy storytelling. And
the first 20 minutes was bearable.
It follows the same format as the other three, and I know it makes lots of money, the people love it, but I thought that was terrible. And Hercules.
Here's a perfect movie. Hercules was better than I thought it was going to be, actually, but not good. Like at the same time, like I was expecting trash, and it was like that was mediocre, and I walked out okay. But here's the thing. Have
you seen my arm? Look how big my arm is. Arm is big. Done. Over.
And have you seen Hercules perfectly white teeth for his medieval times? Anyway, yeah. So here's a movie I want to ask you guys about because you are women, and I think this movie really, really made you guys look terrible. The Other Woman was a movie that came out this year, and it was billed as a female empowerment movie where you're supposed to go with your girlfriends and be like, "Yay, we're the best." I thought it made you guys look horrible. Like,
yeah, we have no worth unless a man loves us and won't cheat on us.
That's exactly what it was. Plus, Kate, whatever Upton's character, was just there to be gawked at, and so it was a terrible, horribly mismarketed movie, and I thought the whole movie was just a giant lie.
Yeah, that totally offended me because it was the worst kind of chick flick, the one that was pretending to be all feminist and pro-women, and actually exactly like you said, it was really opposite. Just stereotypical characters. They were really mean to each other, and the payoff at the end where the guy gets his comeuppance, was so over the top and so horrible that you end up just feeling really sorry for the dude. And Kate Upton is just a
model, a swimsuit model.
Yeah, slow motion running on the beach. I was like, who is this for? Because women don't want to see Kate Upton running down a beach slow-mo, and guys would hate this movie. Yeah. So it's just horrible, but it made money still.
It says nothing else to
Yeah.
Right. That's what I said in my review. I was like, it's just a movie to get certain butts in the seats. Kate Upton is there for the guys. The girl beating up on a guy stuff is there for the girls, and they were trying to just make as much money as possible.
Yeah.
We've just got someone dying in our neighborhood, so there's a NYPD copper going around.
It sounds like a
shit's going down, the NY.
Wow, it's a long way to come on a chopper.
Sounds like The Conjuring.
Alrighty, are you ready for some questions when we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Matthew Jacobs says in a voice, sorry, I'm reading while I'm speaking, in a voice that doesn't sound anything like this, says, Chris, you're awesome, man. You played a huge part in discovering my love for movies, and I'm one among many. You're one of my favorite movie critics, and my favorite by far on YouTube. Thank you so much, man. Keep doing what you love, because I just saw it recently and love your thoughts on Lost in Translation. Oh, wait, I haven't read that right.
No, because we just saw it recently. We would love your thoughts on Lost in Translation.
Okay. First off, thank you for saying that. It's very sweet of you. Lost in Translation is by far Sofia Coppola's best movie, in my opinion, and I think that it's one of Bill Murray's best performances. The thing I loved about that movie was it felt so small and yet so big in its implications, because it felt like such a tiny little movie, you know, where just a couple people just kind of hanging out and they talked a lot. And with a script like that, the dialogue has to be amazing for it to really, you know, captivate you, and it was. And I think that's one of the things I liked about it. And to this day, people are always like, "What did he whisper to her at the end?"
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you don't need to know. It's like it's one of those endings where you can kind of make it up for yourself. And I also like movies like that. And not to spoil anything about a recent film that came out last weekend, but it had a similar sort of ambiguity to it that I liked. And, yeah, Lost in Translation, good movie.
On 3, let's all say out loud what we think Bill Murray said to Scarlett's character. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Can we have sex?
We should have put my fingers in you. Lovely, Maude.
Make it Suntory.
Yes. Sorry, Dad.
Christina says, you know what, with the other woman, my hubby laughed for a few moments, and he hardly ever laughed, so I don't think he minded it. Leslie Mann cracks me up so hard, I didn't take it seriously at all, so I enjoyed it.
Some people.
To each his own, or her.
Noah says, Chris, you're my idol. Why do you like Nick Cage so much?
Because it's like he's an enigma. You can't figure him out. It's like he'll be in Joe. It's amazing. Then he'll star in Left Behind, and the whole time you're looking at his face. It's like you can't take your eyes off him. And I don't know. He seems so freaking amazing. Like I just want to. Like someone asked me, like, hey, if you could interview anybody, who do you want to interview? I'd be like Nicolas Cage. I don't know why. I just want to meet him.
Be like, Nicolas Cage.
Be like, tell me about your life, man.
I don't think you noticed.
You noticed. I said to say a question, and then I saw spit fly, slow motion, and then land on his shoulder, and I went, oh, I'm sorry, I spit. And he's so nice, he was like, that's fine, don't worry about it. And I was like,
he probably was like, oh, it's fine, and then he sucked it up.
Yeah. Piece of leather jacket.
Shane Ashby, hey buddy, he says, Chris, if you could remake a movie, what would it be?
Oh, come on, there's so many remakes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think the best type of remakes are movies that should be remade are movies that had like a really awesome plot that turned out terrible. Like, in my opinion, a really great remake was Dredd, because Judge Dredd with Stallone was like, what? But it was a cool idea, and the new Dredd was amazing. So, like, I think that if you found like a movie, and I can't think of one offhand, but like maybe a movie that was just really anticipated. Oh, how about Battle Los Angeles? A lot of people were really looking forward to that movie. Obviously too new to be remade, but maybe 10 years from now, a lot of people were looking forward to Battle Los Angeles. It was not good, in my opinion. And so maybe a remake of that where aliens actually do invade Los Angeles and the army or the military has to fight them would be really cool if it was actually good. The problem is that Hollywood only wants to remake popular titles that are popular, so they're not going to do that.
Yeah, so we'll get remakes of movies that don't need to be remade because they're still good.
We'll get Harry Potter, like...
I'm sure. We'll get 50. Reboot of Harry Potter. Some point.
Here is another excerpt out of Chris, How Big Can Your Ego Get? It's from Michael for Thriller. He says, Chris, I just want to say that you're a true inspiration to me. Thanks for all these years of love towards film. Keep it up. I've been a fan for about 3 years now. You're the best film critic on YouTube, in my opinion.
That's very sweet of you. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And no, I don't have a big ego. I really don't. Like every time I hear a comment like that, I'm like, oh.
I know you get really humbled.
But no, it means a lot to me when I hear stuff like that, and I appreciate that.
I've got one from Alex as well, and Alex, I'm on the same page as you. Chris, why did you buy Chucky the complete collection on Blu-ray?
Yeah, it's funny. See, right now my wife and I are planning this guilty pleasure horror movie thing we're going to do this Halloween. So we bought the Chucky movies because we're going to watch them because they're not good. But it's funny because like the set is really big and it has a black case and then really humongous red lettering. So like everyone was like, "Why do you have Chucky?" Because you can just see it so blatant right there, and that's why. Because we're gonna be talking about him in our horror skit where we talk about
Brooks wants everyone to know that he watched dude. Just wanted everyone to know he watched Star Wars and Empire last night and Rebels. I'm gonna read you out a few powers. Ready? Shane is playing Crisis and Empire at War, watching Batman 90 series, and reading Marvel Collection. We've got Noah. Hey, Noah. He's playing Destiny. Same. Watching Star Wars Rebels. Same. And reading Darth Bane, Rule of Two. Nearly. 2 out of 3. Brooks is playing Bioshock Infinite. Good luck with that one. Watching the original Star Wars trilogy, My Hero, and reading A Storm of Swords. Hi. And then Matthew is playing Tomb Raider, watching feature movies, and last night saw Lost in Translation, which was fantastic. Oh, I actually got one more snuck in here. Tabs is playing Darksiders 2.
Don't bother with that one.
Watching Sucker Punch and reading The Witcher, The Last Wish. Woohoo! Thank you so much for the chats. Really appreciate that one. And thank you, Mr. Maude, for dropping by to talk some of the highlights of 2014. Some of the low-hanging lights.
Handful of, thank you. Thanks for having me. Nice to see you, Chris.
Turn and cough.
Chris, I'm pretty sure everyone knows where to find you, but what's your YouTube and Twitter and all that love and jazz?
It's just my name with 2 N's at the end, so yeah.
Easy. So we can find you. If you like this video, make sure you press like. If you want more, we do it every week, so subscribe. Get your powers in, playing, watching, reading. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Oh, whores. We just became the whores, not you, Chris. That's fine. This has been Geeks Unleashed, and the bomb has been dropped.
Whoa! We killed Chris.
Oh, sorry. Wait.